And then this came out of the blue. I think Aaqib, who I know quite well, I speak to him. I've been out to Lahore on a few occasions. Obviously, I have a big interest in what Lahore do with their development program. It's something that we tried to kind of copy and learn from Shaheen to doing Yorkshire. And we learned a lot of the Lahore Qalandars.
Pakistan cricket at its best. 1 minute down, next minute up.
Saj Sadiq here for PakPassion.net, bringing you another exclusive interview. Now, I want to be really honest with you here. This chap that I'm interviewing today isn't a Pakistani bowler, but he's one of the bowlers who I really enjoyed watching when he was playing. And I think most fans around the world will echo my sentiments. He's a Yorkshire and England legend. He's played 58 T20, 58 tests, 159 ODIs, 2 T20Is. As I say, a fan's favourite all over the world, wherever he played. He played an entertaining and fantastic brand of cricket. He's held the role of a director of cricket at Yorkshire. He's held positions at the ECB. And recently, very interestingly, he was appointed as the head coach of Lahore Qalandars, the one and only Darren Gough. Goughy, thank you very much for your time. Lovely to have you.
Yeah, no problem at all, mate. Yeah, it's just been great just watching all this cricket. Every time you turn TV on or listen to the radio, there's a game of cricket going on somewhere in the world. So it's great, mate. Love it.
Tell you what, mate, all this franchise cricket, you would have earned a bit of money in if you were around these days.
Oh, I would have loved to have a crack of some of the leagues out there. Amazing. And look, I'm a massive fan of Test cricket. Let's get this straight. I love the longer form of the game. And I think the real elite cricketers performed at the highest level, Test cricket, and that's where my love comes from. But I love playing in white ball cricket. That's where I really shone, entertained. I could play to music, wear coloured clothing, bowl those in-swinging Yorkers. The crowds go mad. You get a good mixture of the crowd, young, old, male, female. So it's got a buzz about it. But the best cricketers are the ones that excel at Test cricket. Let's not forget that. But one-day cricket is an entertaining business, and that's where the money is.
Lahore Qalandars, Goughy, how did that come about? The head coach role. I knew you had links to Lahore Qalandars, but I was a bit surprised that you took that challenge on. Let's say.
Look, coaching something that's been something I've never really been able to give my full body to, really, because when I retired, obviously, I wanted to get away from cricket like some people do. I did it, Flintoff did it, just step back from it, reassess, don't go straight into the game. I always believe you're better off just stepping out of it for a little bit, give yourself some space. And I went on and had a successful career broadcasting, very successful, Sony Awards, BAFTA nominated, doing coaching video, actually, the BAFTA nomination was for. And so coaching's always been a passion. The England job come up on a few occasions as more of a bowling coach kind of lead. I went to New Zealand as a consultant with the idea of probably going on and doing something, but the timing wasn't right. Timing wasn't right at all. I was doing so well at TalkSport broadcasting, and I was getting to see football, World Cups, my real passion as well, football. And I just thought the Yorkshire job got me back on the face, as in doing a hard job. I wish it would have been coaching, but it was more rebuilding a cricket club after everything that went on. And I totally rebuilt that club in 2.5 years. We had to cut the wage bill, a massive lump off the wage bill, and develop young players. I did some coaching with the Lions this year against Sri Lanka. I really enjoyed it. And then this came out of the blue. I think Aaqib, who I know quite well, I speak to him. I've been out to Lahore on a few occasions. Obviously, I have a big interest in what Lahore do with their development program. It's something that we tried to kind of copy and learn from Shaheen to doing Yorkshire. I think that's kind of been underway without the partnership developing as it should have done because of the ongoing problems we've had at the club. The opportunities for youngsters has been massive in Yorkshire. And we learned a lot of the Lahore Qalandars. And I went out there and I helped judge on a couple of players actually who are playing at this moment in time, who came from that performance program, that trial days. It's
You're gonna have to
amazing to
name them
watch.
now, Goffey. You can't just say a couple of players. Go on, spill the beans. Which
No,
players
no,
were
no,
they?
no. I'll tell you about them. I'll tell you
All right.
about them when they make the starting 11 in
Ah,
the GSL. I'll come back on and tell you about them then.
right.
I'll wait till they play. In fact, they have played last year, but let's just see what happens in a couple of weeks. And seeing them develop and seeing them come from where they came from. One guy who I had there bowled at 90 miles an hour, but he never bowled in cricket spikes. And he's come a long way in the year and a half since I was there last, or year I was there last. And he's now played a couple of games. He's still on the development front rather than being a regular. And that's why I'm going to wait and not put pressure on him by naming him. But he's got huge potential and he can bowl really fast. It's slingy action, a bit Malinga and I like it. And I helped spot him along with Aaqib and Shaheen and a few other coaches that we had there on the development program in Lahore. And I enjoyed it. And he thought there was no one better to ask. After Aaqib took the Pakistan Kavina job, he rung me up and said, look, I know it's short notice, but I'm after a coach. And I didn't have to think very hard to ask if you could just come in and help us out for a 2-week period. So I asked him about it. I said, what players are going to be available? Now, the hard thing is for Lahore, compared to the other teams, is but Lahore won't know which players they can take till the 22nd of November, the end of the first class cycle. So there's 6 teams playing in that, and 3 get knocked out, I think, on the 22nd of November. So I think we've had to get visas for 30 cricketers, and we can pick from whichever cricketers don't make it on the 22nd. That means a late arrival for the Qalandars. They don't arrive till the 23rd evening, and we are actually the first game on the 26th. So we won't know our team. We won't know our team until the 22nd evening.
You mentioned the GSL, Goffey, but I think most eyes will be on the PSL. You said at the start of this chat that you love watching cricket. Have you been sort of watching the PSL over the years and seen the tournament develop?
Of course, it's huge. For me, it's as far as quality is concerned, I think it's the second best one in the world. You've got to take the IPL as the ultimate, purely because of the finances that are behind it. But the PSL the standard of it is excellent. I've spoke to a few people that have played in it as well. KP tells me, but he enjoyed it there. It was a real high standard. The bowlers were good, the spinners were good, the batting, flat pitches. And I've watched a lot of it. I actually fancied commentating on it last year, but for whatever reason, I couldn't make it in the end. I would have loved to have been there as a commentator. I love Pakistan. I think people know that. I've been there. I talk about it many times, but my favourite tour with England was to Pakistan. I absolutely loved it, that tour. And I've been back twice in the last 2 years with the Qalandars. So I enjoyed it. And I was going to be somehow involved along probably with Aaqib, with the Qalandars, I would say this year anyway. And now I've got an opportunity to be there at the front. I'd have liked to have a bit more coaching time than a day before we play the first game. And let's be realistic. Look, I always go in to win, but I go in to win with a smile. And if we don't win, we play good cricket. But the unfortunate thing about this one is we don't know our team. We don't know what team it'll be. It'll be a totally different team to the PSL. It'll be a mixture of players from Pakistan who are available after this knockout season finishes on the 22nd. And then I've had to fit in some overseas players who are available, because let's not forget there's other cricket going on around the world, right? There's a T10, which is a huge tournament. A lot of West Indies cricketers are playing in that. Bangladesh are playing the West Indies in a test series. I think that's a weekend, by the way, West Indies test team, if you look at it, because they're all playing in the T10 or they're playing in the GSL. England are playing New Zealand. India are playing Australia. There's so much cricket going on. You've got to be very, very clever with your signings, and we've tried to get players with experience, and we've also tried to use my knowledge of England and get a couple of players from England we can fit into the side, remembering that Guyana is probably going to be a turning kind of pitch. So you're picking players that probably suit the wickets you're going to play on. And having just watched England West Indies, in fact, commentated on England West Indies for TalkSport, I got an idea of what the pitches are going to be like. They do turn. They're probably actually similar to what you've seen Pakistan play England on and beat them in the last two Test matches. Probably not turn quite as much from the off, but they'll be very slow, very dry, and spin will play a big part. And you only have to look at the other teams like Rangpur from Bangladesh, Hampshire have just signed another spinner. They even got Danny Briggs on loan from Warwickshire for a tournament, which is like mad. And we've gone for Luke Wells, who can bowl a little bit of off leg spin, whatever you wanted to call it. Rosington, who can keep and open, and then Tom Abel, Tabriz Shamsi, and Carlos Brathwaite, the experience to have a local knowledge in there as well. So we got good overseas, but I just don't know the rest of the side now until the 22nd. Same as you, same as everyone else.
I guess the PSL, though, the opportunity to work with the likes of Haris Rauf and Shaheen, Shah, Afridi, that must have been very appealing for you.
Yeah, I've worked with Haris before. Haris is an amazing character. I love him. In fact, I was the one, it was my first pick. When I was at Yorkshire, our first overseas player I signed was Haris Rauf. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of his bowling. He can bowl very quickly on his day. He's obsessed by the speed gun, very similar to what I used to do. I like that in him. He bowls a good Yorker. He's got a good slow ball, and I like his attitude. And so it'd be great to see him again. He's a good character. He's fun to be around as well. He's always smiling, always got a smile on his face. And Shaheen, obviously, we've seen him. He's had a little bit of a rough patch of late, but what a cricketer. He can hit it long, especially in white ball. And his bowling's quality, as we saw in Australia again in the ODIs, he bowled quality over there. There's some good players who play in the PSL, some great players in Pakistan cricket, the history of it. Two of my heroes growing up, well, not growing up, when I was grown up, and I wanted to be like them, was Wasim and Waqar. Everybody knows that. I copied them with my Yorkers, and my action was very similar to Waqar. So it has a huge influence on me. So it's a pleasure to work with the Qalandars.
I guess big shoes to fill, though. Aaqib Javed, head coach, he's been very successful at Qalandars. After a slow start in the PSL for his team, he's proved to everyone what a good coach he is. So bit of pressure on you there because the Lahore Qalandars fans are always the expectations are very high, Goughy.
They should be. They should be. I think you get it with Karachi as well, don't you? I mean, you've seen Karachi underachieved for how long now in the PSL? I think they're another team that they'd be a great team to be a part of, and probably they have underachieved so many times. And I'm amazed every year, but they not the team that are pushing right at the top, because I think they should be with the players they sign. With the Qalandars, I think it took a long time to build that team because they do put a huge emphasis on development. You've got to remember that. If you're a fan of the Qalandars, you've got to know, but their dream is to create players, young players, give them opportunities to play for the Qalandars and develop their skills so then they go on and represent Pakistan, right? That is their big belief. That's what they want to do. Having known the owners, having known Aaqib, that is their big thing. And I'm a massive fan of that. And if you look at last year, they've done so well back to back. And then last year they had a disappointing year, right? And that can happen. I think they came bottom, didn't they, last year? So as far as that's concerned, I ain't got much to beat on last year. But as far as back-to-back titles, that was amazing, an unbelievable effort. And they deserve all the credit from what they've achieved there, the Qalandars. But I think the PSL is going to be even stronger this year. I really do. I think there's some unbelievable teams in it. All the top players want to play in the PSL as well. The only thing this year, I think there's still going to be a crossover of tournaments, and it'll be interesting how that works out. But I think you'll get a very high standard of player because there's only so many players can play in the IPL. There's only so many players can play in the PSL. And then you've got a county cricket season to compare as well, start of that season. So it's going to be interesting again. You've got to be clever with your players that can bring into the side and create a team. It's not about bringing in individuals who are brilliant players. You've got to bring in individuals that will fit into the team and suit the team. And I think what we've got for the GSL, I think we've had to get players that will fit into that team. And we're guessing, by the way, as I said to you, we don't know any of our players, and I mean any of our players, really. until the 22nd of November.
And you've mentioned about having been to Pakistan before, Goughy, and you've loved traveling there, loved being there. What appeals to you about Pakistan? Obviously, everyone talks about the food, the hospitality, the passion for cricket, and just the culture, and
Yeah,
there's lots of things that are very appealing for the likes of yourself, I guess.
absolutely. And last time I went there, it was the first time I'd gone out and about and looked at some of the history, and went to the fort, and went to the restaurant down there in is it Old Lahore? Yeah, Old Town Lahore. That was amazing. I'm fascinated by history, full stop, and there's a lot of history in Pakistan. And I loved going around there, just got in a tuk-tuk, drove all the way around, absolutely fantastic few hours, finished by
Were you
dinner.
driving, Goughy? Were you driving?
Definitely not. I wish I was driving. I wish I was driving, by the way. And then the hotels, everyone's so friendly. Anything you need, they look after you. I have never ever gone there and thought I don't enjoy this place. When I played cricket there, the facilities, the quality of cricket, the pitches were all quality. It was hard work. It was a proper test of your ability back then. I remember that tour so well. Played on good pitches against a top Pakistan team, and we managed to win in the dark, right? And everybody remembers for that. But that was an amazing series. Two really good teams playing against each other. When you go through some of the team, the players on both teams, that team, that was proper Test match cricket, and that's how I remember Pakistan cricket. Quality fast bowlers, quality spinners, batters that some of the best batters I've bowled at, Saeed Anwar, Inzaman, Yunus Khan, Yusuf Mohammed. I mean, these guys, that's a proper lineup, Amazing. Ijaz Ahmed played as well. Proper lineup for batting Moin Khan. And that was an hard team to beat. And to beat them on home soil was amazing.
And finally, Goughy, we go through coaches pretty quickly in Pakistan cricket. They normally last a couple of months and then they're gone. So Darren Gough, head coach of Pakistan, or Darren Gough, bowling coach for Pakistan one day, maybe?
Well, it depends if Aaqib gives us a ring. We'll see what happens. Let's say he's a great guy. And I saw him, he was working over here with Sri Lanka, wasn't he, in the summer? So when Sri Lanka played England Day, I was there on the opposite side to him. We had a good chat. And then obviously from there, he's gone on now to work for Pakistan. So he's left his job with Lahore. Obviously, he can't do both. There's an opportunity for me there to come in and continue his good work. You never know. If Aaqib gives me a ring, you never know, do you?
Thanks very much, Goughy, for your time, and wish you all the best at the GSL and then the PSL and all the other ventures and projects that you've got on the go at the moment, and with Lahore Qalandars as well. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Well, let's hope so. I've got the GSL. We'll see how that goes. And if I get an opportunity to coach in the PSL, it'll be an absolute honour. I'd love to do it. And if it's not with Lahore, you never know. Someone else might give us a buzz. But hopefully it's with Lahore Qalandars.
Thanks, Goughy. Take care.
Cheers, mate.